Hi everyone. Today is Ansible Demo, and I'm going to talk about Ansible and what is the best thing we are going to get from this. So, is my audio is fine, or are you able to see my screen? Double
Yes,
confirm.
perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So, in this course, I'm going to talk about how do we automate and the major thing, configuration management, which we're going to consider. So most of the DevOps operations is carried out in the configuration management side. So when we look into this area, there are a lot of other tools already into the market, but they are having some disadvantages, and we cannot do everything with that tools. So likewise, we have Puppet, uh, Chef, and some other tools also there, but these two are more popular in the last 20 years. But very recently, this Ansible started 2012 onwards, and it is 10 years old now, and it is rapidly growing, our most powerful tool in the cloud DevOps area. Okay, and it is having one more special capability, that is deployment. The who is already working in the Jenkins pipelines, they can also do the things with the Ansible. And sometimes you are going to do some remote operations on the different machines, right? SSH, you do one command you want to do in another machine, from connecting from your current machine to another machine, then you are going to execute some command, one command or two command in that. So it's like ad hoc commands. So all these three things we can do it one tool, that is Ansible. Okay, so Ansible learning is our course, and I'm just giving you my brief intro and what we are going to cover in this course from the Vybhava Technologies. These are the topics which we are going to cover: basic Ansible, and then installation of Ansible, configuration of Ansible inventory, where we are going to talk about the host and we are going to run the multiple meshes, and then implementation of playbook. The automation start from here, where we can test the playbooks. So in Ansible, we are going to develop write playbooks. Playbooks means YAML files. So when we write the YAML files, there is some certain structure that we need to follow, and there are different modules and variables we are going to learn and we are going to use in the playbooks. So these variables comes into different levels, and variables are two different layers. So we can have it in a program, and they are coming from the system. Two types of things which we can get, which are coming from the system. They are called facts. And when you are going to define the number of hosts, if you are working on a big, huge environment like thousands of servers running, then this is the best tool where we can work on. So in that, we are going to have some set of servers as group as. So groups we can divide like web applications, DB applications, and message queues, RabbitMQ, and Redis clusters, caching capabilities, memcache. So each one is having a different ability, and that ability we are making as a group, and we can make it as a host set. So host level, you want to have some variables, then those variables are called host vars. And if you make that group wise, and sometimes some of the data center level also we are going to have. So those variables will be accessible, and you can use it in your playbook accordingly. We can work on it. So when you design a playbook, it is going to have different sections where we can talk, that is called task. So a number of tasks will form one playbook. And when you want to control this task, you can have conditions. The conditions are you want to repeat, then the repetition process, when it should stop, that is also we need to control. So in our Ansible, we have a special word that is going to control when. Whenever this condition happens, then it is going to stop. Whenever this happens, then only allow this one. So like that, we can control the task. Coming to the file, we can write the files into remote boxes at one go. Suppose you want to configure, you want to change something, one file you want to modify in all 100 boxes. That is very simple in Ansible. You can handle that one using the file handling modules. So there are set of file handling modules. We need to use that one and it will modify the set of files in the remote boxes. Rules. So when you work on the Ansible, we can reuse. Same thing is going to work. For example, you are working on a real-time environment where we need to send a mail. Whenever the rebooting process is starting, immediately you want to send reboot is happening for this data center. And this data center, whenever you are sending, one data center uses this logic that will be reused in the another data center as well. Data center 1, data center 2, or US, if you look at the region wise in the clouds, we have East region, West region, like that. Those roles will be reused, and it is going to send whatever send mail we are going to design, that will be reusable. Okay, so reusable function, just like in C program, we are going to have the functions, just like that in Ansible, we are going to have the roles will be much more powerful. Not only execution of the functions capability, it is also having much more abilities in that. Okay, so we'll try to work on those roles and understand how it works. And then YAML is having one special capability that is just like in our VI editor or SED and Unix, it is going to find and replace. This find and replace in programmatical way in the runtime if you want, then Jinja templates will work for in AWS playbooks. Okay, so when you're working on Jinja is going to use some format. In that format, if you write the variable, that value will be automatically replaced, and then in the runtime, the value will be used in the playbook. So that is called Jinja template. So when you are working with the Jinja templates, you can use some loops, controls also in that one. And after learning all this programming capabilities in Ansible, there is a controller node from where you are running that Ansible playbooks. You can also have one special tower. In Red Hat, it is called tower, and in open source, it is called AWX. Okay, so how it works, how to install, how to configure, that is, there are different flavors. So AWX was available open source, and in Red Hat, it is called Tower. That is proprietary. You need to buy license, then only you can get that one Tower. Okay. So AWX, again, there are two flavors. Last versions, they were running in Docker up to 0.17. 0.170, that is a AWX version that was running in Docker containers. Now also it is running containers, but in high availability. So if you want to run the AWX, that is control mission controller, Ansible controller, you can run it on high availability using the Kubernetes cluster. So one complete Kubernetes environment you can dedicate to run the AWX controller, the Ansible controller. Okay, so that is a last one which we are going to learn and administrate from the console. We try to work on that one. Once we start working, that playbooks, couple of playbooks which we can develop, that can be integrated and that can be executed from the AWX controller. And during that one, we can have multiple troubleshooting and best practices which we are going to learn in this. Okay. Any questions on the course content? Are you fine? Are you have any questions? Are you with me? Hello.
So in Ansible also, like we are going to use a YAML format, right?
Correct. YAML file will be the playbook. The structure will be different. The content of the YAML file will be different. In Kubernetes, we are having a one special, these are the sections we have to use, like API version, first thing. Next kind we are going to use. Next, we are going to use specification. Same way, in Ansible, we are going to have different structure. What need to be in the beginning, where it has to be executed.
Like task controls and all those go into YAML files.
YAML files. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ansible is works for Linux and Windows as well, right? Not only Linux.
Any platform we can use Ansible as a platform, and it can be controlled from anything. So you can run a controller in Linux system. You can have its agents running, or its target machines can be any machine. That is possible. So Jangir, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Jangir. Where are you working? Are you working in any
Yeah,
DevOps
actually,
team?
I'm working in Bangalore, Giant Eagle.
Uh-huh.
Like earlier, I used to work in Mindtree. Last 6 years, I was working in Mindtree as a
Okay.
middleware administrator. So there we like some small script were created during normally the Unix team is doing some OS patching, right? So
Uh-huh.
that time they have created Ansible scripts to run multiple servers to patch at one shot. So
Nice.
time I got internal training,
Uh-huh.
but
Hands-on
now
company.
I'm integral and as a MuleSoft administrator. So
MuleSoft. Okay.
MuleSoft.
Good.
For that, I wanted to learn this Ansible
Oh, nice, nice.
because
How many
recently
servers are there in your
I
environment?
recently upgraded. I
Uh,
upgraded runtime, independent runtime.
okay,
So there I see some steps like manually we are doing. So I
want
recognize
to
that this
automate.
can be done with the Ansible.
Right. Nice.
We'll see how it
Okay.
will work.
So, do you have any practical setup on your laptop, or how did you connect it? You connected from mobile or a laptop?
Now I am connecting with my personal laptop.
Okay, good. So, do you have any cloud access?
Yes,
GCP
yes,
or Azure
Azure DevOps.
DevOps?
We
Okay.
are like we whatever pipelines is running through Azure DevOps only. CI/CD they are using
Mhm.
Azure DevOps.
Okay.
In Azure DevOps, all like whatever scripts for that particular APIs, they are using YAML files only. YAML file in the sense is it Ansible or
Yeah,
what?
YAML is common language. Anyone can write. It is,
Okay,
its a structure is changing in every instrumentation, or whatever you can call it. It's a infrastructure as a code. That is a common thing. If you go for the Jenkins file is a YAML file. You go for this yeah, pipeline as a code, it is using that. And Kubernetes is using the YAML. Docker Compose is using YAML. So each one is using YAML, but the structure of the YAML file content is changing.
yeah, different. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So hope you understood the course coverage. It could take 15 days, 15 sessions to complete this one, approximately. Yeah, and I need the people who is going to join the session. They should have a laptop, and they should have two alternatives. One is you should have a cloud access. Another one is you can able to create your own virtual machine on your systems using the Vagrant.
Cloud access in the sense like. You
As you
want any
mentioned,
instance?
Azure DevOps, you
Azure
have
DevOps is some
student
official, right?
you have access, but you can create student access 1 month trial access on the Azure, or you can use GCP, any cloud to work on some instances where we can test our programs,
Okay.
YAMLs.
So will you help to create one instance?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So on your system you want to create, that is also fine. We can create it.
Yeah. Sure.
How much memory you have on your system?
I have 8 GB RAM.
Good enough. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So let me just go through the basics of today's topic. Yeah. Basics of Ansible. I'll just go through and then we'll communicate further. Yeah. So today's first topic, basics of this Ansible. What is Ansible and why Ansible? What are the things required so that you can understand in the next session, you can practically set up your boxes. Okay, so Ansible, why and what and how, these are the three things we are going to cover in this. And what is first we are going to cover. So what is Ansible? It's an open source software and it is going to provision configuration management tool, and it's able to deploy the applications. It may be Java application, it may be Python, Node.js, any application you can take and it will work. Infrastructure as a code, this is the main agenda for making this one. And Ansible is agentless. So if you look at the Puppet Chef, they need one software, at least small thing need to be installed in the target machine. If you go for Jenkins also, you have to download a jar file, then only agent can communicate with the Jenkins master. So this Ansible doesn't require that one. It is a temporary connection where you are going to have remotely, whenever you want to connect, you want to do that task, it is going to use a SSH, and this SSH is available in all platforms. Windows also having this SSH capability now, and PowerShell is having this execution of the SSH capabilities. Anyway, we mostly working on Linux. Most of our course will be covered from there. Yeah, who created this Ansible? Ansible is created by Michael D. Hann. So this guy created this Ansible. 2012, this guy created first time that software bundle completed and it is released. So now it is with the Redhat. Redhat bought this after that is Ansible is delivered as open source, but now two flavors are there. Ansible with Red Hat is different. Ansible open source, that is community edition. Okay, so first thing he worked on Puppet Chef CF engine, and he also worked on multiple server deployments, different tools he used. Fabric was the most popular one that time. Um, 15 years back. Okay, so had a ad hoc task, that is like executing any commands, we can use that one, SSH, plain SSH, and then you can proceed on that one, communicating with that one. So this is a basic idea. So from these three things, he want to make one software. So Ansible wrap ups all the three above things. So configuration management, server deployments, and ad hoc commands. Everything should be done from one tool. That is what the idea, that is Ansible. Okay. So what is Ansible? You got it. And then why Ansible? This is a practical example. If you're going to see a deployment process, if you're going to have some applications running on hundreds of machines. So if you are running in a containers, or it may be Docker containers, or it may be VMs. So if you're working on this, you have a version, let us say first release happen and version 1.0 release. So RC1, RC2, like that people may have. So when they have new release, every sprint we are going to have a new release, then new version comes in, our new box will be added, our new cluster will be added. So all these things will be handled automatically using the Ansible. That is possible to handle. So whenever you have 1.1, it is automatically handled by the Ansible. That is what the overall idea how it works. Earlier it is 1.0, now it is 1.1.0. So that is release wise deployment will be happens on the n number of machines. That is the first idea. The second thing is the goal. It is going to reduce the deployment time. How much time it is taking to execute this deployment process. So this is actually most common problem in the software development. This is what required for the DevOps. Reduce the time. Immediately customer will turn up, okay, you got it, a new feature. So new feature should be delivered as soon as possible. That is what supported by Ansible. Deployment from the Ansible will be very, very easy, and it is also having the scheduling capability. You want to do every week, you want to deliver, then you can schedule the time and it is going to pick that file. It just like in Jenkins, we can do the same story here in Ansible also. So when you're working on Ansible, the latest version, what you are seeing in Google, you just type Ansible latest version, then it is going to give the latest version. So stable version you have to look for, and then it is going to give the date when it is, and the repository. It is available open source. That's why it is on GitHub, and it is completely developed in the Python, PowerShell, Shell, Ruby. So all these are used in this internally to run the Ansible. So why it is PowerShell means when you run on the Windows system also it will work. That is why this shell is used. Operating systems, any operating system, you can use Linux, Unix like Mac and Windows. All the operating systems are covered. So Ansible market is growing. Now it is much more. Before pandemic or COVID, it was continuously growing. But after that, after 20, it is again rapidly growing. It may be like up. So that is having lot of powerful abilities, and it is completely capturing the market in currently. Whatever you have automation tools, this is a top number one. Okay, when we can use, where is the need of this automation? So whenever you have a DB backups, this is a scheduled topic. When you want to do this one, every 15 days you want to take a backup of the Oracle database, or every 15 days you want to take a Postgres database. So anything which you want to keep a copy, that will be automatically be done by Ansible. Repetitive tasks, just like just now I told you, there is a need of reboots, need of the deployments, need of the your complete application code, the build process. So all these are repetitive tasks. Code releases, any code releases that will be handled, and patch, sometimes OS patches. Linux is going to have patches, or Windows is going to have patches. So these software patches can be automated using the Ansible. User creation, sometimes one batch of users joins the team, then immediately this will be helping. And if you go for the restarting the systems, rebooting the system, this is one of the key capabilities required, that will be automated from the Ansible. So purpose of the configuration management, when we look for the programming abilities, application deployment, Java application, WebLogic, J2E servers. If you just take var file, you put into the server, that is a deployment. So this process can be hand automatically done from the Ansible. Save times, a lot of time will be saved, and one machine, 2 hours, 100 machines, 200 hours. How this will be saved? That entire thing will be reduced to 1 minute, and it will be super fast in automations. So when you do the automation, you might use a shell program or Python program earlier, but now using the Ansible, then it will be much more powerful, much more saving time. So system will be saved. It is going to have a single node configuration, only one machine. You are going to have everything, that is controller, Ansible controller we are going to call. Multi-node configuration, that is also possible to configure. And you can work that complete life cycle, dev, test, QA, production. So if we are going to disconnect, please reconnect. Okay. So what is Ansible in a high level? We have covered. Ansible is a simple way to automate IT software tasks, and Ansible provides the enterprise ready solution. It is going to help us to entire application lifecycle, end to end. You can do automation using Ansible. It is most powerful and it is able to work with the inventory, what you have number of hosts, and it is going to play with the playbooks, that is completely YAML, and it doesn't have any software need to be installed on the remote machines. It is a agentless manage infrastructure with modules written in Python, and it is going to implement smart DevOps, and at any level of DevOps you can use this Ansible. Okay, so configuration management tools, if you compare Puppet Chef, Salt, Ansible. So these are all different evolutions, configurations, tools, what they are using, DSL, Ruby, YAML. So if you look at Salt and Ansible, both are using YAMLs. And templates, they are using Jinja, same, but Ansible is using latest version of Jinja tools. And pull request push. So if you see Salt and Ansible, both uses the push technique. Pull means you should have an agent. License open source, that is Apache license, here GNU public license, and written in the which language? Python. Salt and Ansible both are written in Python. So these are the comparisons. Puppet Chef, they are with the different template capabilities. So understanding Ansible, how does it work? So this is a high level architecture which you can see. So Ansible controller manager or management node that is going to work with the playbooks, and it is going to take the help of the inventory where you are going to have the groups, and you can add the number of hosts there. So group may be web applications, group may be applications, or group may be DB, group may be proxy servers, etc. You can communicate with that boxes, and those boxes will be connected with the SSH protocol. So you can see the different categories of boxes which you can work on, and the playbook can be different automation tasks it is going to have. Okay, so this is a high level understanding about how the Ansible is working. All right, so that is about the intro, and yeah, it is as described. You can create, manage your environment completely from the centralized location, one common place, that is controller node. So your code can have the configurations in a playbook. So when you're having a goal, you should have a consistent automation ability, and this Ansible is providing idempotence and scalability. You can expand anytime, and it is going to work on different machines. It is just like any other configuration tool, and it is having the ability, plus yeah, you can see the deployment abilities, and you can see the remote ad hoc command execution ability also. All right, what Ansible Tower or AWS is going to cover. So AWS is no, it's 4.0 version. Hello. So I'm sorry, it was taking time to join other folks. All right. Current version of Ansible is 4.0, and AWS is having different versions. AWS, I think it is 1.0 now. And UI, it is going to work with the RESTful API. So the HTTP protocol help us to work with the different abilities, get, post, and delete other actions which you can work with. So Ansible is also supporting from the GUI. So workflows are there, and where we want to do one task after the another task we want to execute, that is possible with the Ansible Tower and AWX. For example, you want to deploy the application, Java application. Once the Java application is deployment completed, you can restart the server. You can restart the target server. It may be Tomcat server. It may be WebLogic server. That is next flow. So one after the other. If first one is successful, the second one you want to do. Then you want to make a condition based. If first one is successful, on success, then you want to restart the servers. That is called workflow. So workflows are available in the Ansible Tower or AWS. Centrally, it is going to store automation tasks. We are going to have in SVN or some other location. Sorry, you can go with the Git or GitHub. You can work with the Bitbucket. So any one of these version control systems you can use, and you can store the tasks. And cross team collaboration, that is possible. You can have a number of team members can join an organization definition of your AWS or Tower, and permission will be given as per the administrator requirements. You can administrate that users also. Some people are just testing, then you can give only read access. Some people are going to configure entire playbook and everything, then that is a different level of permissions. So you can configure permissions. Ease of use, it is very simple. Nobody need a it's in one. If you compare Chef or Puppet, you must go through the complete training session from those companies, then only you can develop. But this is very simple, easy when you work on this Ansible. So Ansible is easy to use, and you can scale up, you can have clusters, you can have and work with the multiple things in AWS Tower and Ansible Tower. Okay, so that is how it is, what is the purpose of the tower, but how the architecture looks like. What are the things we can do from the tower or AWS. Okay, so this is the architecture of AWS. So admins are there, users are there. So when you work on Ansible Tower, there are role-based access controls, and it is going to provide us, you can work with the different Ansible playbooks that will be provided by administrator. It is already available on connected to that playbooks. Okay, Ansible CLI, that is you can directly run in the command line. So you should have a knowledge how to execute ad hoc commands. Then you can work with the CLI system. So scheduling centralized jobs, you can schedule at one particular time. Let's say I want to execute every first month of the Monday. I want to check how many boxes are up. So if you are working on 1,000 servers, you cannot go and look into every machine. When it is restarted, you want to get, then the simple command is uptime. So if you want to run uptime command in 1,000 servers, it takes days to get the complete list. But in Ansible, you can simply run that one from the ad hoc commands using this Tower or AWS. Okay, so that is very easy to work on. So Ansible, it's a open source, and you can have module libraries, which we can call it as a Galaxy. So Galaxy is available, and you can use the plugins. When you work with the inventories, we have different plugins capabilities. You can also use the Python based codes, modules you can develop, and you can integrate with the Ansible. So it is helps us to automate your enterprise level infrastructure, Linux machines or Windows, Unix machines. Network, you can use any one of the network, private networks. Containers, Docker, LXC, maybe Rancher also comes into this list. Cloud, AWS, Google, Azure, all clouds are supporting Ansible. And you can run the any services. And this entire and Ansible Tower is going to maintain Postgres database. So it is stores the data related to this Ansible that will be stored in Postgres DB. Okay, use cases, different abilities which user can perform. Provisioning of a new VM or configuring a management, some configurations you want to do using yum repository, using apt-get. It depends on the machine you want to run, that will works. App deployment, you can deploy something new application, Tomcat application, Java application, you can deploy. Continuous delivery, you want to deliver some war files, build files, you can deliver it to containers, Docker containers, LXC containers. The continuous process can be done. Security compliances, you can keep checking with the Ansible and you can get the list. Reports will be automatically generated that can be stored in a file system. That is also possible. Orchestration, you can orchestrate the complete flow end to end in the deployment process. So this is a overall summary of what we are going to learn in Tower or AWS. So what is the system requirement to work on Ansible? The first thing, if you want to manage Ansible machines, first thing is you should have a SSH protocol. SSH, Open SSH will be automatically available in every Linux system. If you're working on Windows, you have to double check that is existing or not. Okay, and the Python 2.7 or above version is recommended. And when the Ansible is started, that time it was Python 2.4, that is also supported, but it is older version. So simple JSON library should be included in the 2.4 version if you are having older version of Python. Okay, that is the older one, don't worry about that one. So remote machines, when you're working on the remote boxes, as a clients, you're going to call slaves, right? So those boxes needs to have Python 2.6 and later version. That is a minimum requirement. Where we can get Ansible, this is a link where you can get Ansible software, Ansible, you can access that one. Okay, so Ansible, why Ansible, what Ansible we are already seen, so I'll just move this one. So yeah, the flow will be like this. One of the example I'll just show. So this Ansible controller in the left side, you can see that is going to work with the machine where the target. Okay, Ansible target is required to install JDK, Java you want to install, or you want to install WebLogic. So these two are two different tasks. These two tasks are feeded as a YAML file. That is called playbook. Okay, so and the same kind of boxes, target machines are available in the host inventory. So inventory you have to supply, playbook you have to supply. Using these two, Ansible controller, that AWS box or tower is going to execute this task, installation of JDK, installation of WebLogic, that will be done, and that automation will be executed. Okay, so this is one of the example how we can use. Okay, so basically when we work on Ansible, it is going to have you should have some basic administration commands, Linux commands you should aware of, that at least SSH commands you should aware, so that we can work on remote machine connection, SSH connection, how SSH protocol works, that basic things you need. And automations, if you know shell commands, just like how the start process will work, any program, it may be start Tomcat also, if you take that, how it will be executed, if you aware little bit, then you can automate the things. Okay, pipes and filters, if you know, then that will be much more better. And packaging, packages, package managers, yum, apt, or pip. So these are the different package managers you should aware, so that we can work on Ansible playbooks. File management, you should aware of chown, chmod. These are the operations permissions which you can do after the file copying, after executing something. Service control, systemctl is a command or systemd is a command. So how we can start and stop, if you know about that, then you can control that one. Environment variables, you can use that environment variables in Ansible in a different way. We will try to understand each variable, so where we can use, what level we can use. We will try to explore on that one. Okay, so overall, we are going to make automate complete play. It will be executed. That is writing a script. All right. So who can all learn this Ansible? So system admins are any developers, middleware experts, or DevOps engineers, SREs, infrastructure architects, cloud SREs, DevOps architects. They can learn Ansible. They can build, they can automate things. Yeah. So the whole set, anyone can work on Ansible. So this one we'll discuss in the next session. So I will stop here before stopping. You have any questions? Okay.
A basic query. Ansible can control only containerized applications, or the
Any
applications are running directly on the host
on
machine.
premises also you can do. On virtual machine, Vagrant boxes also we can test. That's why I told two options you should have.
Deployments which are running directly on the host machine also we can control, right?
Yes.
Containerization is not required.
Container is not required.
Okay.
Any other questions? Are you with me, Jangir, Maheshwari?
Yes, Pa.
Yeah.
You're good.
So for the next setup, I request you to prepare boxes or instances. It may be on cloud, it may be on your Vagrant. Anything is fine. So if it is Vagrant, I have given this Ruby script. You can go through this. So Jangir, are you with me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So Jangir, we can set up a sample for Vagrant boxes like this. 3 boxes. One is master, another 2 are slaves. So you can use any of the operating systems, that is your choice. So here I'm using CentOS. Here I'm also using the Ansible Tower, which is already installed and that we can use. So any one of them, that is your choice. You can use CentOS, the box name you can provide, or you want to go with the Ansible Tower, that is also readily available, Ansible installed in that one. Yeah. Right. Okay. So just try this setup on your system. If you are able to do, okay. Otherwise, we'll try to do this on Monday session. Monday morning, we are starting the batch. In that one, we are trying to set up this and installation setup.
Can you please ping this link?
Yeah, this link, you can just simply search DevOps Center in Google, and I will say the same on the chat also, Zoom chat.
DevOps Hunter blog.
Yeah, DevOps Center in Google, you can search, and then you can simply look at the top. First one is Ansible installation. So I will stop here. Any more questions? If no questions, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
We'll connect in the morning, Monday.
Thank you, Pawan.
Sure.
Okay, bye.